Going on, crew? Starting to feel like I got my mojo back with this fantasy stuff, man. I'm starting to realize what it takes at this end of season stretch. First thing I would like to say is we made three lineups today. We did a turbo lineup. I put 20, 25 cent entries and I got 300. That was enough to win on any format that you played that lineup. So that's a winner. Congratulations to whoever played it. And then I made two lineups for the main slate. I should have threw this one in the main slate. Shout out to Gabriel. He was mentioning that. But by the time we made the turbo lineup, it was after lock, so we couldn't do it anyway. Um, and to recap a little bit, Kenneth Fareed, and that's why you got to come to the live show at the end of the season. The only way you're gonna get those values is when 10 minutes before lock, something is announced that make you say, "Hey, that's the play." As soon as I heard Kenneth Fareed was starting today, I've been on Kenneth Fareed for weeks. As soon as I heard he was starting, I had to get him into a lineup. So I threw some Kenneth Fareed in. Cantor kind of disappointed me. Steph Curry's still playing. They're just starting the fourth quarter. He's already at 40, so he should get 10 more. This should be a 300 lineup tonight. Um, Hayward did all right. I don't hate that. Jokic did great. Damari Carroll did 6 times value, guys, and I told you that. I told you that. How many threes did he hit today? You know, I'm not the best at this, and I don't want to boast, but when I get so adamant about certain things, it's because I know what I'm talking about, man. Damari Carroll, I knew was gonna at least hit 6 times value today. It was a given, sure thing. I did not hesitate. I did not. I told you guys what was gonna happen before it happened. I never did I hesitate on Damari Carroll. I felt pretty good about him. All right. Um, how many threes he hit? 4 for 8. I told you he's gonna be open for a bunch of threes and he's gonna hit them. So he hit 4 threes. All his points were 3 pointers, and that's what I said he was gonna do. Isn't that something? Oh, he didn't even score 2 points. I said he's gonna hit down a bunch of threes today, and he did just enough to hit value for that minimal price. So that was a good call. Jalen Brown kind of disappointed, but the lineup did about 300. We can't be mad at that, and it's a winner in every format that you play it in. This one is barely pushing out. I'm pretty sure it'll win you on the 50-50s and the double ups. It's not quite putting me where I need to be in my $12 tournament. But I think Draymond Green got a little more left in the tank in the last 9 minutes of the game. So the lineup was okay. Shout out to the women's Mississippi State University. They took down UConn tonight. UConn won 114 straight basketball games and lost. So I needed to take a couple minutes in my video to shout those girls out. They did a great job. Now I'm gonna get into tomorrow's slate. Okay, Atlanta versus Chicago. Sheffilosa and Millsap were the injuries. Starting on the Atlanta side, point guard Schroeder. I'm not interested. I think that Rondo could be pesky on defense, and for 7K he needs mid 40s. I'm not into that. Tim Hardaway I think will do well, but not for 6K. He's just been a little bit too inconsistent. He'll get you 24-9, 28-36. So the consistency is not there, but I think Tim Hardaway will do well tomorrow. Kenton Bazemore, I wanted to play him his last game, but people convinced me that he's on a minute restriction off the bench, and then he ended up going off for 38. So I don't think he'll do that again tomorrow. I think if anyone do well, it's going to be Hardaway Jr., but I'm okay with both. And then Torian Prince is getting the start, but he's splitting minutes down the line with Bazemore. I'm not interested in that. Ilyasova needs mid 30s. He's too inconsistent. He can go from 24 to 38, 32 to 26. So that's too all over the place for my comfort. Dwight Howard for 8K does make me uncomfortable. If we look at DVP, we'll actually see that centers in the last 5 games, Chicago Bulls is not the one to mess with recently. They're shutting down the interior, and I get it. Dwight Howard has been the beast. He's the go-to person. We need upper 40s for that price. I just don't know if I can get to Dwight Howard against Chicago tomorrow. But I'll pull him over for consideration, being that he's been approaching where he needs to. Now, if you know me and you know my videos, you know I like to attack Schroeder. Okay, Rondo. People might hesitate because he's 7K now. That means he needs low 40s, but I think he'll get you there. And let me show you why. He's had low 40s in the last 2 games, for one. He struggled against Philadelphia. And Detroit. Detroit is a tough matchup. Philly, he could have did better. I get it, right? I'm not gonna hold that against him. Toronto, a good matchup, 50. Utah, difficult matchup, so I could take that against him. Memphis, 42. Boston, he should have did better. He only played 19 minutes. I'm not even sure if he was starting yet then at those days. So starting in a good matchup at home, it's pretty much a lock, man. I gotta have some Rondo. Same thing with Jimmy Butler. He is the heart of his team. His floor is mid 40s, which is about 5 times value over the last 10 games. His ceiling could be about 60. He could probably be the highest scorer tonight. He's averaging in 3 games against this team 50 fantasy points. So you got to fire up some Jimmy Butler and Rondo. Play it with confidence, okay? And then Mirotic is someone else that I'm interested in. He just put up 47 and 42. He had an off game in Philly, but then before that, 46. His price is only 6K. If Millsap was paying, I would hesitate, but Ilyasova, I think he could take advantage. If he take advantage of Kevin Love, I think he could take advantage of Ilyasova. So I'm definitely considering some Dwight Howard, some Nikola Mirotic. And then Lopez, I guess, is worth some consideration. He needs upper 20s. 30, 29 has been his last two at home. It's just that Dwight Howard is a little tough. So I don't really want to mess with it. I don't think I'll end up with him, but he's worth some consideration. I'll hold on to him for now. And that's it for that game, right? Orlando versus Brooklyn. Quincy AC, Joe Harris are going to be out. Jeff Green remains out. Let's start with Brooklyn. Love Jeremy Lin tomorrow. It says that it's a bad matchup here, but we know that's not true. We just saw um, Russell Westbrook drop 100. I just see Isaiah Thomas drop 50. And Jeremy Lin has been pretty hot, okay? He had a bad game against Detroit, so people may be afraid to play him. But in two good matchups in Philly and Atlanta, he had 36 and 40. So I think he could take advantage of Orlando's coming off of a back to back. I'm definitely interested in some Jeremy Lin tomorrow. Um, Sean Kilpatrick, he needs mid 20s. He just put up 19. I like him tomorrow. I think he'll do very well. In 27 minutes, he put up 25 against his team. If they say he's starting, I'll probably lock him in, but he might be coming off the bench. I'm not interested in too many bench players tomorrow. Too much value at the for the starters, all right? Especially at one value that I'm going to get to in this last game. Um, Karis LeVert, not interested. Richard Hollis Jefferson, I have to consider. He need about low 30s, 25, 32, 34, and 32. So if he gets in the 30s anywhere tomorrow, I'm happy. It's just that Aaron Gordon seems to be taking off at the end of the season. So he might have a little bit of a challenge, but he's been so consistent. I'm going to pull him over for some consideration. Brook Lopez, another guy that needs some consideration. He already put up 40 points against his team. Um, he did have an off game against Detroit, but that's to be expected. In an obvious matchup against Philly, he went off for 50. And he did 34 against Atlanta. In decent matchups, he do well. I think he can drop another 40 bomb. And because he's $2,000 cheaper than Dwight Howard, I'm just gonna take out Dwight Howard, throw some Brook Lopez in there, and keep it moving. I'm not in love with Dwight Howard tomorrow. I like Howard a little less than a little bit for that price. Um, and then on the Orlando side, Peyton seems to be in a good spot, but um, he disappointed me in OKC. And if you and he did well against Boston today, but on a back to back traveling, I'm just not interested in most of these Orlando people. But if I was to consider Peyton, I mean, I would have to remove Rondo. I'm not doing that. Jeremy Lin, I'm not doing that. So it's just no room to fit him in anyway, right? Evan Fournier, I like. He's been pretty consistent. Again, I'm not gonna take him off of Jimmy Butler or Rondo or Lin, but he's someone that against Brooklyn, that's a very good matchup. He needs low 30s. And he's been pretty consistent. He had about 30 again today against Boston. So don't be afraid of some Evan Fournier guys. I like him. And then Terrence Ross, same story. He had about 30 again against Boston. He's been 27 and up for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. So you know you're gonna get 5 times value from him. I'm just gonna pull him over for some consideration because he's been super consistent. And then Aaron Gordon is hot, man. He just went off for like a 60 bomb today. I don't know if I can call on him twice to do that. But this is the matchup for him. But it's a back to back. He's traveling. And let's see. Hollis Jefferson has been a little bit consistent. Um, I'm not gonna take out Miritich for him for 500 less. I'll keep Miritich. Terrence Ross, nope. So, but I like Aaron Gordon tomorrow. I think he get back in the 30s. He even before his 60 bomb, he was already 31 versus OKC, and that's a tough matchup. So I think he's heating up, and he's gonna surprise a lot of people. But his team doesn't really have much to play for, and it's a back to back. He really exerted himself a lot today for that 60 point. I'm not gonna trust him and lock him in the lineup. All right, Vucevic, I like against Brooklyn. It's just that I like Vucevic, man. If you could fit Vucevic in, if I make two lineups, I'm gonna have Vucevic in one. The reason I'm not putting him in this one is because as far as centers go, I know for sure that I'm gonna have me some Myers Leonard for the bare minimum starting against Phoenix, and then he's $1,000 more than Brook Lopez, so I won't take him out. But I guess I'll take him out for Robin Lopez for now and consider him. I mean, it's a little expensive. It's really affecting my budget, but he's worth some consideration against a weak Brooklyn interior. I think he already put up 50 against Brooklyn. He's going to be highly owned. He needs mid 40s, and I think he get that easily tomorrow, but I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if we can get to him, right? And that's it. That's it for that game. Sacramento versus Minnesota. I'm not interested in anyone on the Kings for a couple reasons. For one, today they rested one, two, three, four players. I don't know who they're gonna rest tomorrow. So if I play anyone from Sacramento, and every time I play someone from Sacramento, I end up regretting it. I never get them right. It's like picking someone on the Pistons. You know what I mean? So, but we can go through it. Let's see what they got. Collison for 5K. I'm not interested. In 25 minutes against his team, he's only putting up 15. Ty Lawson, if he plays, I'm still not interested coming off the bench. Buddy Hill, a rookie, I'm not interested. Tyreek Evans, he just played on a back to back, and he's nursing some injuries. I'm not interested. Not interested in anyone. Carly Stein for 5.7. I'm good. Gorgie Jang is the same price. Why would you not just take Gorgie Jang tomorrow, right? And then Papa Giannis. He's a center, and I'm particular about my centers. So on the Minnesota side of the ball now, I think Rubio is interesting, but just for 8K, I can't get to Rubio for 8K. I know he just put up 60, but I think he'll settle back in the low 40s again tomorrow, upper 30s, maybe even mid 40s. But for 8K, I need a 50 bomb, man. I need to fill the 50 bomb, and I don't think Rubio is going to repeat that 2 days. He's at home and it's Sacramento. I get it. I don't believe in Rubio that much tomorrow. Chris Dunn, I do believe in tomorrow. I love Chris Dunn. He's getting more minutes, and he's going against a weak Sacramento team that gives up a lot of points to guards. For his price, he just needs mid 20s, and in the last 4 games, he's been in the mid 20s. So I feel like he's safe for 5 times value, and he can get you up to 7 times value. I think he'll get to in the 30s tomorrow. Love Chris Dunn. Who would I take out Chris Dunn for? So it have to be a point guard. I'm not taking out Rondo. I'm not taking out Lynn. So I might have to move one of these centers. And to be honest, I'm gonna move both centers because I know one spot is for Myers Leonard and the other spot, and then I'm just gonna have to run Chris Dunn because I can't miss out on that value in Chris Dunn tomorrow. I think it's some good value in Chris Dunn. He's getting like a block per game, a steal per game. In his last 10 games, he had a steal every game, every game, every game. He's playing defense. He's blocking 3 blocks, 2 blocks, even without blocks. He's hitting value. He's scoring. He's doing a lot for his team, and they're already out the playoffs, so they're gonna give him some run and boost his confidence and see if it's worth bringing him back next season. So I love Chris Dunn tomorrow. I'm gonna lock him in. And then Shabazz Muhammad, Tyus Jones, Brandon Rush. I'm not interested in. Andrew Wiggins. He hasn't been in the 40s, and that's what we need for 7K. So I'm not gonna get there. Gorgie Jang, I love tomorrow. I love Gorgie Jang. I will play Gorgie Jang over Hollis Jefferson. So I'm gonna take out Hollis Jefferson and fire up some Gorgie Jang tomorrow. All right. Um, and that looks good. And then Carl Anthony Towns. I think if I make two lineups tomorrow, I would probably go Carl Anthony Towns Vucevic. Definitely get those two in. And I might do a second lineup tomorrow when I'm bored during the day. But for that price, I don't want to go there today. All right, I don't want to go there. But I like. We know that Sacramento's giving up a ton of points to bigs right now. And Gobert really couldn't take advantage of them today. Kind of pissed me off. But I think Gorgie Jang is gonna have a field day against them tomorrow. I feel it. I feel it strongly. All right. Um, and then the last game, Phoenix versus Portland. We know that Nurkic just went out. Phoenix bigs against Phoenix is a prize, especially when they're the minimum price and they have to play 30 minutes because the team doesn't have a backup. I love Myers Leonard tomorrow for that reason. I love Myers Leonard tomorrow. Okay. Love Myers Leonard tomorrow for the bare minimum. That's a good value. So the two values, the only place that I'm paying way down tomorrow is Myers Leonard and Chris Dunn. And I think both of them are worth it. All right. And then Damian Lillard, it's a toss up between him and Jimmy Butler. They're the same price. I'm gonna go Jimmy Butler because for some strange reason in my mind, I'm thinking that for one, Damian Lillard and McCollum can have a big night and affect the others, right? And then for two, I think Nurkic contributes to a lot of Damian Lillard's success. If you look at Lillard, one thing that makes his value so high that wasn't the case earlier in the season is his assist numbers. He's scoring double digit assists now, and I think Nurkic is responsible for a lot of those pick and rolls and whatnot. Myers Leonard starting really makes me not want to pay up for Damian Lillard. Now, some people see it differently. They say, "Oh, his usage is gonna go up," but the team doesn't have to concentrate about Nurkic anymore. They can zone in on him. So to be honest, I think McCollum can have a big game tomorrow. But he's been so up and down that I'm not gonna get to McCollum. I'm just gonna stay away from Portland altogether. I'm just gonna take Myers Leonard and just stay away from the rest of that situation. All right, and that's how I feel. But I love McCollum tomorrow more than I like Lillard. He already dropped mid 40s against this team in 3 games. So that's a pretty good sample size, averaging 38 minutes, putting up 45 points. And if a guy just came off of a bad game, you can count on him bouncing back. He never really has 2 games in a row. Well, he's up and down. But I think McCollum is going to have a huge game tomorrow, very huge game. In my second lineup, if I was to make a second one again, I would go with McCollum, Nurkic, Carl Anthony Towns. If I was to make it, and I probably will, but those are 3 people that I love that just cannot make this lineup. Okay, um, and then the rest of the team sucks, man. I'm good. Vonleh could be consistent. He's gonna need to play big minutes, but I don't think I need to reach for the Vonleh value tomorrow. I like my value in Myers Leonard and Chris Dunn. All right. On the Phoenix side of the ball, love everyone on the Phoenix side. Eulis, I like a lot. I'm just gonna take Rondo because Rondo's a little cheaper. All right. And they're both in great matchups. So I'm going to keep Rondo, but I love Eulis tomorrow. Um, Devin Booker, love Devin Booker tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I'm going to throw Devin Booker into my lineup, get rid of Terrence Ross, and then put back Jimmy Butler as a small forward. Now, the reason I like Booker is because not only is he's like the de facto point guard for his team. He's gonna take the most shots on his team, and he's gonna get the most minutes. He's gonna play 40 something minutes, guaranteed. Okay, he went off for 96 and 51, 2 out of the last 4 games. You don't want to miss this tomorrow against Phoenix. It's going to be a fast-paced game, up and down. There's nobody to stop him from driving if he wants to drive. There's no Nurkic presence. There's no interior presence. So he probably get a lot of layups. He's going to take a lot of shots. I think he'll get a lot of rebounds. Lillard like to take some 3-pointers. So do McCollum. So I think he'll get a lot of long rebounds. I just love the position that Devin Booker is in tomorrow. All right. Um, TJ Warren is a little risky. Portland played good defense on the wings. And then for his price, he needs low to mid 40s. He's done that 2 out of the last 4 games, which is fine. In 3 games, averaging 34 minutes, he's only putting up 27. I don't like TJ Warren as much tomorrow. Marquise Chris, I do like quite a bit with no bigs in there. But for 5.3, I opted out to take Jang for $1,000 more. I just like Jang tomorrow. I like Jang every night. You guys know that. Um, And then Alex Len is just way too cheap. So if you can fit Alex Len in, that's a good option as well. And this is the lineup, guys. This is the lineup. I like it a lot. Love it. Love this lineup that I got here so far. Okay, so play that with confidence, and I think you'll be all right. Now I just want to see if my thoughts of Towns. Play Towns as the power forward. This is not my lineup. I just like the idea of Towns, Vucevic, and McCollum. That's a good base too to start tomorrow with some Leonard in there as value. We got Leonard value coming out, and you got 5K per player. So that's another way to approach your lineup building tomorrow. But this is my main lineup. This is the one I love a lot. This is the one I'm sticking with for now. I think you could play it with confidence. Talk to you guys tomorrow afternoon.